today's day and age, there are a lot of great ballistic helmets on the market, but when it comes to the best of the best, the absolute top-notch helmets, those are going to be coming from your American companies. Now, I'd personally recommend brands like Armor Source, Gentex, and Safariland, but when it comes to the most top-notch helmet, I personally believe that it comes from OpsCore. Now, if you're not familiar with OpsCore, they are the child company of Gentex, and they started producing their own high-cut helmets around 2008 and 2009 when they started rolling them out to special forces deployed in Afghanistan. If you're more interested in learning on the history, I've linked a couple videos in the description, including one from myself. So if you're feeling like you want to learn a little bit about them, go ahead and check those out. But before we begin, there's two things I'd like to knock out. The first is that I made a pretty big move a while back, and there's been a lot going on in my personal life since then. So thank you all for being patient and for the support of this channel. And I promise that I will keep rolling out these videos no matter what gets in the way. Secondly, this video is made with a bit of a personal bias, and even though I wasn't paid by OpsCore, nor did I pay full price for this helmet, these helmets, especially the newer models, are worth a little bit over $2,000 on the websites and other markets that they're sold on. But there's an old saying that goes, you get what you pay for, and with this helmet, there is no truer statement than that. I've configured this in quite a few different ways, and it's held up to my expectations each time. So when it comes to gear like this, buy once, cry once. It's the only way to go. With that out of the way, if you like what you see, please like and subscribe. It really helps the channel, and let's do this. The helmet that I've been running for a bit now is the OpsCore Fast. Now, this helmet is by far the lightest I've ever used. The base shell is about 1.4 pounds, and with the rails, the bolts, the chin strap, and the other hardware on it, it comes out to about a total of under 2.5 pounds, which is still insanely light for a helmet. For my night vision guys especially, this weight is a lifesaver while still offering some form of ballistic protection. Another thing to note is that yes, this is a high-cut helmet, so a lot of the weight is saved just by that alone. And this model is the super high-cut helmet, which you can tell by these 4 slots on the rail on the back. And what this does is it makes the brim sit higher, so these mounts specifically will work a lot better than if I would try to use their original 3-hole high-cut helmets. Because with the 3-hole high-cut helmets, these specific mounts were having issues popping out and in. So this is when I have them sealed on my ears, and I'm not really hearing anything unless I have the audio turned on. But I had issues when firing fully automatic or just firing a little bit too fast where they would pop out, then my ears would go numb and they'd be ringing for the next couple of days, which is a huge problem. And another perk of the coverage itself is that my tall guys can relate to it, especially tall head guys. This will cover you in the back from a lot of things, such as dirt, debris, or even shrapnel, and that coverage is going to be a lifesaver. Another perk of the OpsCore line is that all the base parts are bolted onto the helmet, and it does contribute to the overall weight. However, that means that parts are relatively easy and inexpensive to replace. There are a couple websites out there, including OpsCore's website, that you can order the very same parts from should anything ever become broken or lost, like my top shroud screw here. What this does is it makes it easier. It saves you the headache and the wallet ache of buying another helmet like this. For my military guys, it's probably saved a supply specialist or two from some dumb private who dropped his helmet and broke the rail on it his first week in the Army. Starting from the front, the shroud is made of a metal. It's a nice lightweight alloy, and it's a 3-hole shroud, so you get a lot of that stability and support that you don't get from your average 1-hole shroud. That's great when it comes to wearing night vision because you don't want that multi-$1,000 piece of equipment on your helmet falling off and breaking at the worst time because you decided to cheap out on a shroud. And it does hold mounts like your average Wilcox G24, and there will be a bit of wobble with some mounts. I found that Neurotos mounts are not too great with it. The Argus mounts are touch and go, but that's no problem. You can always hold it in place with the bungees that are mounted to the rails. The biggest downside of it is that even though it's a great shroud, it is metal with a bit of a paint finish on it, and that finish will wear off over time. As you can see, mine is becoming a little bit shiny, but that can always be replaced by a spray paint can later. The rails on your helmet are your typical high-cut helmet arc rails. They're proprietary to OpsCore, especially the super high-cut ones. So be aware when you're trying to buy replacement parts or even OEM parts for it, because they're kind of easy to get mixed up on. What I like about these is that there's plenty of real estate to move hearing protection or other accessories around on to make room for other things like these lights that I prefer to mount. And another thing is the screws on the rails are long enough to go through the shell, through the rail itself, and secure to the liner inside. And it also makes a great basis for attaching things like this OpsCore counterweight, which helps with cable management, batteries, what have you. Moving on to the inside of the helmet, OpsCore helmets come with what they call a dial liner. And if you're unfamiliar with that term, what it is essentially is it's a collar that can be adjusted using the dial in the back, and that tightens to your head. It can tighten to a variety of heads, well, most heads in fact. And what this does is it tightens the helmet down and eliminates a lot of unnecessary wobble. So if I put it on like this and I'm moving my head, and you can see it's kind of jostling around there, but if I make a couple adjustments to the dial itself, I put it on, it helps with the chin strap, but I'm a deviant, so I don't like doing it all that much. And you can see a lot of that wobble, a lot of that unnecessary movement has been eliminated. And it's a lifesaver, especially for my guys with night vision. So invest in something like this. It's very similar to the Team Wendy BOA system, and it's exclusively organic to OpsCore helmets, so I definitely recommend giving it a shot. When it comes to pads, I'm running a mixture of PGD and OpsCore pads on the inside. I originally had a group of US issued pads in there, but I quickly got rid of those because they were causing too many hot spots, too many pressure points, and just making the helmet super uncomfortable to wear. So investing in a great pair of pads plus the Lux liner and the shell weight will make the helmet almost unnoticeable when you're wearing it on your head. And that's great, that's what you want in a good ballistic helmet, so that's a worthwhile investment to make. Overall, is this the best ballistic helmet? To that I will say, yes, it is. It's a lightweight design, it's been tried and true, seen combat, taken rounds, and saved lives, and it comes with a lot of great features right off the bat. There's tons of aftermarket support and distributors who will sell parts that you need to fix or replace anything that gets broken, so you can keep the helmet up and running. Now, there's a downside to this, and that this helmet was originally meant for war. It was designed like that, and the ballistic performance will perform as such. So if you're looking for a helmet that can stop more direct impact rounds and that kinetic energy from those rounds, then OpsCore is probably not for you. But we do have some helmets coming in that we'll be taking a look at in the future, so stay tuned for that. Final thing for you guys, with the results of this recent election in, I highly advise that everyone out there keep their head on a swivel and just keep training. The worst thing that you can be is a liability to yourself and a liability to others, especially if it's your loved ones or anyone else that is going to be relying on you. So get out there, get some training, and stay frosty. I'll see you in the next video.